what's up, folks? This is GreyMan here, and welcome to the Sunday Shift Report. I hope everybody's doing well this Sunday afternoon, evening, or morning, or wherever this happens to find you. Well, I'm sitting here looking at what I have to go over today, and there's really not much good stuff to go over, but I mean, I guess that's what the Sunday Shift Report's about, is things that are really not positive, but what's in the news and what's in the media, politics and all that jargon. And I guess we're going to dive into a few things. And some of these things have probably been discussed because, like I said, I'm at work on Fridays and Saturdays. I'm at work Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, but I see you guys on Thursdays. But Fridays and Saturdays, and of course Saturdays, the internet and the news organizations and the media erupted, all over the place with the new word of the month, possibly the year, is Omicron, or Omicron, or however you want to call it. And we'll dive into a little bit about that, and we'll see the double-edged sword and how some folks are treating it and how some folks aren't. We also got stuff about some crazy things that are happening across Australia, China. What else do we got? Oil issues. I'll touch real quick on the earthquake, Black Friday looters, man, and gas prices. There's so much stuff we need to go over, and we'll touch on a few of these things. One of these things I'm going to bring up on one of the articles like I've done in the past, and I'm going to show you guys the article, kind of see what's highlighted in yellow, but I'm going to link the article below so that you guys can possibly read the article, because most likely I'm not allowed to read this article here on this platform. So we're going to move on past that. I'm trying to think, what do I want to start with, to be honest with you. Oh, speaking of which, like I think it was last Sunday, I left you guys with a 2-minute clip. I have another 2-minute clip that I want to share at the end of it, because I want to show you, again, the hypocrisy of what's going on in our government today. And how was it in the previous administration and now in the current administration, and how they have changed their tune. And yeah, it's a nice little clip I'll show you guys. I think it's about 2 minutes long, but we'll share that at the end. And also another hypocritical statement from the current corn pop that's running this country. And we'll touch on that real quick on this his tweet from about a year ago and what he has done now. So moving on, let's kind of dive into it. And I don't know if I need to say, that these are my opinions, and some of these articles are speculative and what they're going about, how I'm discussing it, and my opinions and all that jazz. But you guys know the routine. I think we're getting close to almost 50 shift reports. I don't know where we're at now. I'll find out once I create the thumbnail for this, of course. But we're getting close. That means 50 Sunday shift reports. Getting close there, man. Crazy. So I guess let's start with gas prices, and because that's going to affect us all. No matter what walk of life you're in, no matter where you're at in this country, gas prices will most likely affect you. And I'm assuming, the elites and the rich, it doesn't really bother them that much. But for us common folks, it does. So let's bring up the article and dive into this. And it's like they're purposely, I swear to you folks, it's like they're purposely trying to do everything they can to derail this country's economic status, I guess. Like anything you could think of, they're trying to just make it worse and worse, create unrest into the people, create some sort of economic woes. I don't know what the game plan is, the final end game, which I have an idea, but then I would need, of course, my tinfoil hat to kind of discuss that one. But maybe we will one day. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, so here in the article, as you can see, it says the DOI pushes for higher fees for offshore and onshore oil and gas companies. And there's a key component, and this is why I have some of these things highlighted. So, and I have to giggle on this or laugh because it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. You see gas prices skyrocketing. They're just not slowing down. Sometimes you'll see a little bit of alleviation. It'll drop a couple of cents, and then it'll jump 15 cents in a couple of days after that. Anyways, moving forward, and I hope things get resolved, but it doesn't seem like that, folks. Anyways, it says the new Department of the Interior, the DOI, report on oil gas leasing in federal lands and water advises that the DOI's Bureau of Land Management, the BLM, which a lot of you guys folks out west know about the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, to raise royalties, rental rates, and other fees on oil and gas companies, but has not moved to halt new leasing entirely, because corn pop ran on you know, they were going to stop all this stuff and all this other, you know, they're going to stop leasing lands and all that jargon. I'm not going to get into that because I want to focus on the article here. But here it states, you know, during his 2020 presidential run, you know, Corn Pop's campaign website claimed that his climate plan would include banning new oil and gas permitting on public lands and waters. So as we all know, politicians get up there, they run on a ticket, and they say whatever they think that the people want to hear to possibly win, to garner their votes. And then most of the time they're just, you know, full of crap. But anyways, let's pay, you know, let's pay attention to this key word, what I'm going to say here in a second, all right? It says a DOI report issued in response to Corn Pop's January 27th executive order was, and this is why I highlight it, was quietly published on Black Friday after months of delays. So they delayed this report for months, right? And then they know all the masses of this country are going to be out buying TVs and stupid stuff. And they say, well, we'll just release this then so no one pays attention. And this is what I tell you about. Smoke and mirrors, man. Smoke and mirrors. They want you to be focused on something else, like spending your fiat currency on useless items and material items that are worthless. And then they put something out there that hopefully no one pays attention to. But then you have folks like myself and others out there that want to bring this to light. Anyways, like I said, they quietly published this on Black Friday after months of delays. The DOI Secretary Deb Haaland claimed in March that the report would be released in early summer, which it was not. Oil prices and gasoline prices have become a hot button issue. Duh. With many blaming the current administration, freeze on oil and gas leasing, shutdown of the Keystone XL pipeline, go figure, and other policies for helping to drive up the cost in recent months. And I highlighted this other part down here because I like the way this was presented. It says, so begging OPEC, because that's what the current administration is doing, specifically Corn Pop, he's begging OPEC. Anyways, it says for more supplies, raiding our strategic reserves to try to lower prices at the pump, and now increasing leasing fees on U.S. producers. Yep, that makes perfect sense if you are a Democrat, wrote Dan K. Eberhardt, if I said that right, CEO of Canary, on Twitter in response to the DOI report. And I concur. That makes perfect sense to those folks. And here's what I want to add to this article, to be honest with you. Let me see if I can find it. Let me remove this article and find the other article. Because we talked about this, I think, was it last week? We talked about, you know, Corn Pop, you know, hitting the strategic reserve for 50 million barrels, right? And like that was really going to do anything in the first place. But then come to find out that oil really wasn't for Americans. He wasn't doing that for America. He was doing it for other folks. Let's see who he was doing it for. Here it is. Biden's, I shouldn't have said his name, but anyways, you guys knew what I'm talking about. Strategic oil reserve release will most likely go to China and India. Today, in the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. News. I like how they said that as well. Remember that big release of 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Let us jog your memory. It was the hallmark solution proposed by Corn Pop's administration to try to address soaring energy costs for Americans. Well, it turns out that most of that oil is going to wind up in China and in India, according to Fox News reports. Both countries have been actively purchasing U.S. sour crude oil produced in the Gulf of Mexico. So he, again, bamboozled the masses, you know, told the people of this country, hey, I'm going to do this, even though it was really nothing. Like I said, we looked at that chart, which I think it's roughly 20 million barrels a day that Americans use to function in our country. And he was doing 50 million, so what that broke it down to, what, 2 point something days. But funny enough, it wasn't even going to Americans. Maybe a couple percentage, not enough, not even enough to run this country for a day. And we're sending this oil overseas to China and India. I don't know if it's me. Am I just crazy? Or is that absurd? Does that not make any sense at all? But here we are. Here we are with this situation. And it's not going to get any better, folks. It's not going to get any better. And Mando, I got something to show you guys here. I'm looking at some of the things I'm going over here, but anyways, also last week we talked about, you know, all these armed bandits breaking into all kinds of high convenience, high store, how you want to say it, high value targets, you know, like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and all these Neiman Marcus, you know, all these expensive stores, you know, planning it ahead of time because they're, you know, like I said, they're running in vehicles. There's like, you know, up to 80 looters at a time, many vehicles, no license plates, by the way. So who knows who they are and whatnot. But they decided to go Black Friday shopping as well. They figured, I guess they would disguise themselves in the masses out there, you know, spending their fiat currency. But let's pull this article up and check it out. It says looters hit Los Angeles Home Depot, which I thought was pretty intriguing. I guess these guys aren't as stupid as we think they are, and we'll dive into why. But Home Depot, what do you guys think they were at Home Depot for? Why would they loot a Home Depot, right? Are they going to build some fencing around their house? No. Anyways, it says 2 Los Angeles County stores were targeted by so-called smash and grab looters during Black Friday shopping events, officials said. A group of young males wearing ski masks targeted a Lakewood Home Depot at around 8:30 p.m., making off with hammers, mallets, crowbars, and sledgehammers. I wonder what they're going to use those for. I wonder if they're going to be, you know, helping somebody out, you know, I don't know, build something or something like that. Most likely not. Anyways, it says in all the suspects stole about $400 worth of items before fleeing in getaway vehicles, with one being identified as a red Mercedes-Benz with severely damaged front end. Wow, they drive a Mercedes-Benz, man. They must be wealthy kids or something. I don't know. Smashed up front end. Food for thought. Some people are like, well, it's only $400, buddy. I mean, but think of the items they stole. I guess they didn't have the proper tools or equipment to go rob other places. Anyways, back into the article, it says, we tried to stop them, Home Depot employee Louis Romo told the station, which kudos to the Home Depot employees, at least for making an attempt, because evidently law enforcement and the government out there will not do anything to restrict this, you know, with the legislation on the books that lets people steal. It says, we closed the front entrance and they put their sledgehammers up, and whoever got in the way, they were going to hurt them. So they got cornered and they were going to attack the employees with the things that they had in their hands, which is sledgehammers. And I don't know if anybody could imagine what a sledgehammer would do to the human body, but you kind of get my drift there. Anyways, it says the Los Angeles County Sheriff Department told other local media that the stolen hammers and crowbars could be used in other Los Angeles area store robberies. Wow, you guys are pretty smart. That blows me away. Go figure, right? Anyways, it says also on Friday, a large group of robbers entered I'm probably going to butcher this name, but anyways, it says Bottega Veneta store. I guess I don't shop at these places, but I don't know what the heck that is. On Melrose Avenue. So if it's in Melrose, it must be some rich stuff. And used pepper spray against people who tried to stop them. And while grabbing high-end merchandise there, officials told CBS, it's not clear how the suspects entered the store or if any arrests were made. I doubt there was any arrests were made, and most likely a friend of theirs maybe have worked there and, you know, let him in the back door. Who knows? I'm pretty sure this is well organized, and it's not going to stop. And here's what I think is going to happen. And this is an assumption, right? This is an assumption. Something is going to go south eventually. Someone is going to, unfortunately, die. Because there's going to be someone in that store that wants to be either the unsung hero or is just tired of the situation, and someone is going to die. I guarantee you at that point, that will make headline news. Be it if it's positive or negative, but I can see where it would fall. If we've seen things that actually make the news and the folks that are doing these robberies, what would your assumption be that the news and how they would spin this, you know, being the fact like, oh, these folks are, you know, disadvantaged, and all the excuses they're going to come up for some of these people for doing the things that they do. But unfortunately, I think long term, if this continues, and there's more than that, just in someone losing their life, this is going to increase the cost of goods. Some of these stores are probably going to get smart and possibly move on. Maybe not. Maybe they enjoyed. Maybe they have enough insurance. Maybe there's a ploy that I don't understand behind the scenes. But I don't know, folks. I don't know exactly the end game with that as well either. It's something that's not stopping, and they're getting more brazen each time. And as we know, something eventually will have to give. Moving on. Did I move that over here? No, I moved something that I shouldn't have moved. Let me move that back so I don't forget about it, because that's something I want to share with you guys. And let's move that here. My apologies in advance. Sometimes Grey gets a little crazy moving things too fast. All right, so let's jump over to Australia real quick before we get into the, Omicron, because I'm pretty sure every YouTuber from here to all over the globe has talked about it, you know what I mean, and gave their 2 cents on it. Matter of fact, for the first time I heard it, I had like 16 notifications, and I'm like, wow, I guess everybody's going ham on this, eh? So Grey should too, right? Anyways, let's jump over to Australia real quick. We have a lot of friends over in Australia, like you guys know. I've talked about Auslander, Homestead Aus, Muzzle Flash, and several others out there. Anyways, there's been a lot of atrocities going on in Australia, and it doesn't seem to be letting up. And things are just getting worse. You'll see a little ray of light, and then all of a sudden it's shut down. Quick, fast, and efficient. Moving on into the article that you can see here, it says, top Australian official, we are transferring Charlie Victor patients to quarantine camps. Now, some of you folks, if you guys follow Auslander here on YouTube, he did some videos while he was, when he came back over to Australia from overseas, or not overseas, well, technically overseas, but Aus can explain that better to you. But he had to spend several days in one of these camps. I kind of videoed a little bit about it while he was there. Anyways, it says Australian authorities are removing Charlie Victor positive patients and residents in the Northern Territory to a quarantine camp in Howard Springs after 9 cases were identified in the community of Binjari, according to local officials. Hard lockdowns were implemented in Binjari and nearby Rockhole on November 20th, according to the Northern Territory's chief minister. Now, here's the issue. Residents of Binjari and Rockhole no longer have the 5 reasons to leave their homes. So this has been taken away from them, because in Australia they gave these 5 reasons that you can leave your home for whatever reason, that they set this up. But anyways, now they don't longer have this. And let's go over the 5 reasons, right? Anyways, it says the 5 reasons they were allowed to leave their home was to go to work, school, buy food, supplies, exercising, caregiving, or getting de-victored. So now these folks in these 2 places, Binjari and Rockhole, will not be able to go to work, will not be able to go to school, will not be able to buy food, will not be able to get supplies, will not be able to exercise or do any caregiving for the elderly or someone that's disadvantaged where they need help. And I guess they won't even be allowed to get the Victor, according to this article. So that is what's transpiring in Australia. And folks, I get that. I always get someone out there that says, hey, well, it doesn't matter what's happening in Australia. It doesn't matter what's happening in Israel or Africa or whatever country that I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. That's what I get. And I'm like, I'm not sure where these people get their train of thought at, but it does. It does matter. It's something that we have to stay informed of, especially in the preparedness community, because of the fact that these things transition into our country as well. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it in history. So don't ever be bamboozled to the point where you're going to think, well, it'll never happen here. How many things have happened in this country in the last 20 or 30 years that folks are like, it'll never happen here? So this is why some of us other content creators discuss stuff like this, because there's always that possibility. And unfortunately, in the times that we're living in, it's a higher probability that things like that will transpire in this country. We've seen chaotic lockdowns in the state of Michigan, in California, in Washington State, Oregon, Chicago or Illinois. All these places we've seen, archaic lockdowns where basically the Constitution was ripped up and people's rights were taken away and said, oh well. So people, please don't ever think that it will not happen here. Don't ever underestimate the powers that be and what they're capable of. And before we get into this, we're going to get into the whole Omicron thing here. I know some of you folks might be curious of my point of view on it. I'm curious what this is. Oh yeah, that's that. All right. Anyways, moving on. I want to jump over to China real quick because this is so the Chinese with this whole new variant. Of course, this whole new variant freaked everybody out. You know what I mean? And basically all hell broke loose. The stock market started to down. I think dropped 900 points. Other stock markets, all kinds of people are shutting down things here and there and going full circle. Which a lot of us had said. They say that, oh, we're in a downturn. How many times have we been in a downturn and all of a sudden something else pops up? Just like the whole Delta escapade. That blew up and everything was all crazy again. Certain states were doing bad things again to their civilians and their citizens. And, every time you think you're going to take a breath of fresh air, boom, you're slapped with something else. Now, like I said, before we get into that, I want to show you what the Chinese are doing. Let's bring that article up. All right, so over in China, it says the new Charlie Victor cases reported in Shanghai. New Charlie Victor cases reported in Shanghai. So 20 major hospitals shut down. I don't know how that makes logical sense there. Maybe they're maybe the powers that be are hanging out with the powers over here, and they're just making stupid decisions. And maybe there's something that I don't understand and why they're doing this. But why would you shut hospitals down if there's an uptick in anything, be it the flu or if you, like I said, some sort of virus or whatever it may be? Why would you shut 20 hospitals down, major hospitals at that? Anyways, it goes in to say that the Charlie Victor outbreak has reoccurred in Shanghai in recent days, with multiple confirmed local cases from November 25th through the 26th. More than 20 hospitals were shut down in the city, and many local hospitals are also suspending emergency services. So there will be no ambulances. There will be none of that stuff. If something happens in your house, if someone gets hurt or breaks a leg or has a heart attack or whatever the case may be, if you're in that area, you're screwed. This is what it's like living in a communist country, just FYI for the folks that like communism. Anyways, it says 3 out of 4 newly confirmed local cases in China reported on November 25th were in Shanghai, and 1 was reported in Dalian city of Liaoning province. Liaoning province. I don't even know. You guys know I can't say those words. So some people say, Grey, well, what is this? Who cares what's happening in China? Back to, my other, where I was saying, people don't, why does it matter? Well, again, a lot of our goods and services come out of China. And, man, I'm going to, matter of fact, I think on either Tuesday or Thursday, one of the live streams that I do, I'm going to share an app that I use that you guys can use. I was talking about it down in the comment section with someone else on a different video, that I track the container ships. You can see all the container ships over the world, where they're coming from, where they're going, how long they've been there, and all that stuff like that. It's a free app. Of course, if you want to get like all the good stuff, you have to pay whatever fee or whatever they have. But you can see a lot of stuff with the free thing. And I keep track, and this is how I keep track of what's transpiring with the container ships. Because when the news slowly, kind of covers it up and doesn't talk about it anymore, I'm like, well, is there still an issue? I go to the app and I check it out, and there's a major issue still. Well, with China doing this, again, a lot of stuff comes from China. Whether we like to admit it or not, a lot of our goods that we have in this country come from China. That being said, the supply chain is going to be affected by this. Regardless if this new variant is something bad or good or, worse than the other or not worse than the other, whatever the case may be, the world governments are going to use it to the fullest extent, regardless of the science. So, of course, this is going to affect us here in America. We already have, our supply chain is already strained, beyond strained. And some folks, well, I don't see it. You will see it. Come 2022, people think, oh, 2022, New Year, things are going to get better. I'm going to show you something real quick after I drop this article. I guess I should drop the article anyways. Because the people at the distribution centers that I talk to, like literally talk to, that work in the grocery train distribution centers, the hubs, said all the stuff, all the foods that you saw during the holiday season, and maybe they have more that's going to last for Christmas. Maybe the shelves will be full till Christmas, right? People are like, I don't see an issue. The shelves are full. I got everything I needed for Thanksgiving. I paid more for it, but I got everything I needed. Understandable. So this is what was said to me. And you can take it with a grain of salt, take it however you like. But the folks that I know said, yes, here at the distribution centers, we were getting trucks in, and we were stockpiling for several months, because we knew come Thanksgiving and the holidays, people were going to be hitting the stores hard. So all the foods that you've been seeing here locally, at least in Florida, in my area, are from the stockpiles that they've had stocked up and released to their stores for the holiday season. Here's the big issue that I see. Well, with the supply chain being in the situation that's in, be it the shipping containers, be it the truckers, be it rail, be it whatever it may be, and the cost of doing all this, and of course the new variant, come 2022, when they go to reorder for their stores, will there be enough food? Will we finally see the ugly face that's been hiding behind this mask? I hope not. I pray not. But like I said, folks, you know, everybody always says that saying, stack it to the rafters. I agree. If you have the capability and the monies to do so, buy as much as you can, just in case. It's not like you're not going to consume it. Rotate it, do what you need to do with it, but make sure that you have as much as possible for you and your family. Because if it ever goes really bad, which it may, I can't predict the future. I'm not a fortune teller. But from everything I've read, it just doesn't look good at all, folks. Again, hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm talking to you in, let's say, March, and like, hey man, everything's hunky-dory, yeehaw. Things are looking great. Well, that's a positive outlook, and hopefully maybe it'll go that way. I don't see it that way, but I guess eventually time will tell. Anyways, folks, that's why I bring stuff up like that, you know, things that are overseas, stuff, you know, that's happening in China, because anything happening in other countries that we have some sort of dependency on affects us here in the U.S. Also, things that other countries do, be it the UK, France, and Germany, and Israel, and India, and China, and Australia, all these other countries, things that happen there, slowly find their way and make it to Western culture here in the U.S. All right. So let's, oh, and I know someone's going to ask me about this, so I'm going to touch on it real quick before we move on to the all fear-mongering Omicron. I got two things before we go into that. I'll pull this up real quick, because I know someone's going to ask me. But yes, so I'm aware that there was an earthquake that hit remote northern Peru, and here's an article on it real quick, small article. It says earthquake hits remote northern Peru, 75 homes destroyed, no deaths reported. Pretty heavy, 7.5 is a pretty nasty earthquake. Anyways, Reuters said that it shook a remote region of the Amazon in northern Peru on Sunday, and was felt as far as Lima in the center of the country, destroying 75 homes but no deaths reported. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'm assuming why it's not something that was huge in the aspect of in the news is probably because it was, like I said, in a remote area. Let's say a 7.5 was to hit LA, I'm pretty sure that would make mainstream news. Matter of fact, I missed it and I don't have the article for it, but in my Discord, someone dropped a news article that I was reading about a fire that's getting out of control out there somewhere. but I don't have that with me, so I can't really say exactly where it was. But if you're part of my Discord group, you'll probably see that in the important news section. But yeah, so I wanted to touch on that, and also I'm going to drop, I have a link for this. I'm not going to read it, but I want you guys to be aware, because it's something that we need to be aware of, because you're not seeing, I guarantee you, you're not seeing this in the news right now. You're not seeing this in the news. I have not seen it anywhere other than this, I guess, free, I want to say free, but a website that kind of speaks what's going on that no one else is talking about. And I'll link it down below in the description. Let me throw it up real quick. And let me know if you guys have heard of this, because when I come across these articles, I'm like, I haven't seen this anywhere. Here's the article. It says, what's going on? Banks around the world are experiencing power outages, leaving millions of customers stranded from their cash and their assets. Now, this has to do with a lot of cyber attacks and various other issues in regards to power and things like that. But this is millions, and this is over 5 continents. 5 continents. And the reason we're probably not seeing it here is because it's not going on in America, as far as we know. If it is, you guys having any banking issues, please let me know down in the comments. I'm always curious to hear from you folks, because you guys are boots on the ground. You guys are in certain areas. I'm only in Florida, in my little crevice of the world. But I wanted to link this down below, because I don't want to take too much time, because these Sunday shift reports can go long, and I have a huge day planned. I mean, it's already probably 4 o'clock in the afternoon while I'm recording this, because I'm running behind, because we had to go to the flea market, because there's things that we get, and we had to go get some stuff for the garden and all that stuff like that. And I'm kind of rambling on at this moment, off topic. But anyways, I'm going to link this this below. Check it out. Let me know what you guys think. And this website has a lot of interesting information that you guys can check out. I mean, it'll send you down a rabbit hole, folks. I'm telling you, because I'm always going down rabbit holes. Some of it you can hold, it holds water. Some of it may not so much. But that's for you to decide. All I'm here is to steer you in a direction for you to check some things out. And I guess that's my new catchphrase: informed and educated. And get informed. Check it out. Tell me what you think. But quite interesting, because if this transpires and this situation grows, just imagine the chaos here in the United States if millions of people don't have access to their cash, their assets, and there's a run on banks. Not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. Luckily, if you're like me, there's a lot of folks that are kind of in the same thought process as me. I hope, is all I leave in the bank is enough to pay my bills. Other than that, I'm either getting preps, food, water. Yes, I invest heavily into silver as well, tangible silver bullion, and everything I look at. Some people say, well, silver's dropped here, silver does this. Yeah, sure, whatever however you want to look at it, silver will always have value versus a dollar bill here in the U.S. Especially if they have their way with it and they go to digital currency, and then your dollar bills will be dang near worthless. If anything, well, you can use it to, I guess, start a fire and use it for tinder or whatnot. Anyways, let me get rid of that one and move past that. And let's jump into some of the nitty-gritty before we get into the hypocrisy. All right, so let me go to the main article I have on this Omicron situation. Anyways, here, let's go with it. Omicron, Charlie Victor variant found in more countries, sparking global concern. Global concern. Health officials said on Sunday announced that the CCP, I get sidetracked by reading some of these articles. But anyways, the Omicron strain, which the World Health Organization labeled a variant of concern. World Health Organization, we know how trustworthy those folks are. Anyways, a variant of concern was found in several European countries over the weekend. Last week, during the weekend, WHO and other officials sounded the alarm by saying that the Omicron variant could be highly infectious and may reinfect people who already contracted the Charlie Victor previously. Although WHO officials criticized the EU and the United States and the UK for imposing travel restrictions last week, also unclear is how the variant affects Victored people. Meanwhile, top South African doctor Angelique Kotesi, I hope I got that right, told news outlets that the variant causes unusual yet mild symptoms inpatients that she has treated so far, saying they were so different and so mild from those that I have treated before. So the doctors that are in South Africa are saying they're very mild, like maybe some flu symptoms, maybe some common cold symptoms, things like that. They haven't seen nothing to sound the alarm on. Maybe it'll change. I don't know. I honestly don't. But as of course, if you've seen globally, lockdowns are being in place, travel restrictions are being in place. Who knows what's going to happen, how this is going to evolve. And we've already seen the things going on in the U.S. because it's fall, and a lot of the northern states are going through an uptick currently still with the whole Delta situation. And they're still implementing things that are against our freedoms. So let's move on past this real quick, and I want to show you guys a couple of things. First, let's go over here to this article here. And like I said, this doctor stated that, again, that the symptoms are extremely mild, and being that it has a numerous amount of mutations, has destabilized the actual virus itself. Even though they're honing in on there's like so many mutations, stuff like that. But if you look at the scientists and the virologists, some of the folks that you probably not be hearing from, but it's actually destabilizing the current strain. Before we move on, I want to show you, there's two things I want to show you. So let's pop this up here. Over here, the Belgian Prime Minister says that this new variant heralds arrival of Charlie Victor 21. He wants to get rid of Charlie Victor 19. Anyways, this Prime Minister of Belgium says the new mutant variant of the Charlie Victor is so potentially devastating, it should be called Charlie Victor 21. He goes to further say, yes, really. Alexander De Croo made the comments during a press conference after international markets plummeted in response to the news that and they have that new, but it's actually the Omicron variant of the virus has been discovered in Botswana and spread across South Africa. And then down below it says, you could say that this is Charlie Victor 21 instead of Charlie Victor 19. It's 3 times more infectious than the original, said De Croo. Well, doesn't that contradict the article that I just went over? Doesn't it? The doctors in South Africa are saying something totally different. They're the ones that are actually dealing with it right now versus this gentleman on the screen here, this Belgian Prime Minister. But you can see how the world is taking this. The world governments, not us the people, but the governments. Anyways, folks. Who knows where this is going to go. It's still in its early stages. We'll find out eventually and move on. Now, I'm not going to really go to dive deep in this article because I probably can't. And what I mean is because my First Amendment is limited on certain things that I can do. And you guys probably understand what I mean by that. But I'm going to throw up the article. You guys can see what the article states. But one thing I wanted to bring your attention to, and you guys can, if you watched a replay or something like that, or if you're catching this on a replay, you can always freeze this frame, screenshot it, whatever you need to do, and actually look at what it is. But what I wanted to draw attention to is down below, is where it says 0.4% of people with that keyword, 2 keywords down there, and also the 0.1% down there. So, sorry, I'm being a bit cryptic in this, but you guys can see it. And like I said, you can freeze frame this. And if you really need the article, I guess I could always email it to you. I would see I'm subscribed to this periodical, so I think it costs money because this is a premium article. I think it's what it's under. And premium, you always pay more for the good stuff, right? But I incorporate that into my whole YouTube cost of operation or operating costs. But I'm kind of leaving this up on the screen so some folks can kind of breeze through it while I'm sitting there rambling on. Because we're almost done, folks. And I want to, there's the 2 things that I'm going to, one of these things is going to scare the crap out of you. If you haven't heard it already. But all right, hopefully you guys got enough time to check out that. And if you guys have any questions, of course, feel free to email me. All my information is down below in the description, my P.O Box, my email, all that fun stuff, my other social media links, and all that jazz. But I want to show you, let me show you something. And let me just throw it up on the screen. Here it is, 2024. Just imagine if this is the ticket. And I'm looking down because I don't even like looking at it. So if Corn Pop decides not to run for a second term, here's the headline. Current polls. Harris and Michelle Obama lead for 2024 if Corn Pop doesn't run. Just imagine 4 years of that. Just imagine, folks. Just imagine. In the article, it states, Vice President Kamala Harris and former First Lady Michelle Obama are in the lead for a 2024 presidential run if Corn Pop decides not to try for a second term, a new Hill Harris X poll found. The poll found Harris in the lead among likely candidates, which blows my mind completely, with 13% of respondents supporting her, and Michelle Obama came in second at 10%. Now, also in this pool of folks that have, I guess, a less percentage, you got Bernie Sanders and Pete Buttigieg and some other folks in there, but these two, Harris and Michelle, Harris and Obama, imagine that for 2024. Imagine what this country would look like after 4 years of that. We've only been dealing with a year of the current administration. We still got 3 to go, folks. Long way to go. Long way to go. Just imagine, folks. Just imagine if they were to win and they were to run this country. Just imagine that. Get ready, folks. Get prepared. You know, we can hope. We can pray. We can hope. We can say we're going to, in the primaries, we're going to get this back. And then in 2024, we're going to take the White House. We can hope. But if they play games like they did in the past, just saying, scary thought. And I think that's a wrap. If that happens, that's a wrap. And some people say, Grey, don't say that. Don't scare us like that. Don't say that. Don't say it's a wrap. Don't say it's the end of it. It's just, I don't think, if that was to transpire, I don't know. I don't know how bad it would get. Anyways, just something to make you aware of. I wanted to share that with you folks and kind of, you know, let you know that that's what's on the table for 2024. All right, so before we get into this 2-minute video, and hopefully you guys have gained, you know, if you have gotten any value out of this, and been informed or educated in any way, please smash that like button. I truly appreciate that. It just, you know, helps get this message out a little bit further. You know what I mean? Because channels like mine and others are suppressed when we share information of this nature. But let me show you how, before we get into the video, well, I'm going to let the video run and close out the Sunday shift report. It's like I said, 2 minutes. And I want you to listen. Pay attention to the hypocrisy in that video, just like I did last week. But let me bring up this real quick. This is Corn Pop's tweet and then what he's done. So this is how they always flip it. They always spin it. They always, if it does, only if it works for them. Only if it works for them, then it's okay for the other side, per se. So if you look at this tweet by Corn Pop before he was president of the United States, it says Trump further diminished the U.S. in the eyes of the world by expanding his travel ban. This new African ban is designed to make it harder for black and brown people to immigrate to the United States. It's a disgrace, and we cannot let him succeed. Here we are. Here we are. In the Charlie Victor News, Corn Pop restricts travel from Southern Africa. These politicians use whatever means necessary to garner some sort of people, to bamboozle them, and to get them to get, if he really got the votes, if they voted for him thinking that, oh well, he doesn't like Orange Man bad, but here we are. He literally he said one thing and criticized another president, and here he is doing the same thing. And from my understanding, the WHO, like they said, which they're not the best people either, but are criticizing these countries for jumping the gun. But do you see CNN, MSNBC, and all the other communist news outlets saying anything about this at all? Nope. I'm pretty sure you're not. It's crickets. Crickets. The hypocrisy continues. The divisiveness, the division. It just doesn't let up, folks. Well, all in all, that's about it. Like I said, I'm going to leave you with this video, and if you guys care to watch it, like I said, it's a clip that I'm going to share with you folks, and you can see, and it all has to do with the victor. It all has to do with the victor. How prior to the new administration and how they acted previously with the Trump administration. So they said one thing during that administration, and then now, and you guys know this 100%, now they're singing a different tune. I like to show these little clips because it shows you in your face how they lie, manipulate, and pull the wool over the sheep's eyes. Does that make sense? I hope so. Anyways, folks, thank you all for joining me on the Sunday Shift Report. Truly appreciate every single one of you for being here. I hope that I'm in the premiere. I know my wife, she is off today, which is a rarity on Sundays. Well, no, it's going to be something new, I think. Anyways, I know we had to go get our Christmas tree because I had to work for the last couple of days, so we haven't been able to get that. And I am rambling, but we have a bunch of things that we got to get doing prepared because we were supposed to do it last week and we didn't have time. So we're trying to cram it all in today. So I hope to be there. If not, I appreciate everyone for being here. And I will eventually watch the replay and kind of look at the comments and stuff like that. But hopefully I'm there. If not, thank you all. Mods, always love you guys. You guys are phenomenal folks. I appreciate everything you do for us, the community, the channel. You guys are awesome people. Other than that, let's go ahead and roll the footage. You guys have a blessed evening and stay safe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow and also Tuesday live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. God bless.
I think it's going to be a very skeptical American public about taking the vaccine, and they should be.
We can't trust the president and take his word and take a vaccine that might cause harm to us.
If and when the vaccine comes, and it's not likely to go through all the tests that needs to be and the trials that are needed to be done.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot?
We will need to have access to the vaccine results so we can make our independent assessment to make sure that Donald Trump's fingerprints are not on it.
You can be the first one to say, sign me up. They now say it's okay.
Is the vaccine safe? Frankly, I'm not going to trust the federal government's opinion. And I wouldn't recommend to New Yorkers based on the federal government's opinion.
And the question of whether it's real when it's there, that requires enormous transparency.
Would you trust that vaccine?
There's very little that we can trust that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
We cannot take for granted this process will be free of political influence.
I don't trust the president, and I don't trust the FDA.
If Donald Trump can't give answers and the administration can't give answers to these three questions, the American people should not have confidence.
You're going to say to the American people now, here's a vaccine, it was new, it was done quickly, but trust this federal administration and their health administration that it's safe?
I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
How confident are you in the approval process of the FDA right now?
How confident am I? I'm not that confident.
Yes, I would be hesitant, but I'm going to ask a lot of questions.
You're going to need someone other than this FDA and this CDC saying it's safe.
You got to make all of it available to other experts across the nation so they can look and see. So there's consensus, this is a safe vaccine.
What I'm worried about is that there's some sort of October surprise and that there is a pressure put on the decision makers here to announce the vaccine in October of 2020.
We're going to put together our own group of doctors and medical experts to review the vaccine and the efficacy and the protocol. And if they say it's safe, then I'll go to the people of New York and I will say it's safe.
But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.